Okay, so what I was saying is y'all are adults, so it makes it really hard for me to talk to you guys, because I deal with the children and I do much better there. What we have here is, well, to start with, we come from a church that had an issue with an elder in the church being inappropriate with one of the young ladies in the church, and so this is something that I borrowed from some from Boy Scouts and some of it from 4-H, and it's just a good program, a starting program, because we may add and subtract from some of it, but to keep us all from, we don't ever want to have the appearance of being inappropriate or having the opportunity to be inappropriate with a child, whether it be, you know, a family friend, anytime we're doing anything that has to do with our churches or EOM, we always want to be above reproach and not have anybody to be able to say, well, you know, Sister so-and-so, she was with that young boy, or brother so-and-so. So anyhow, so that's what this is about. And I started off with basically a declaration of our beliefs for our children's program, which is EOM believes in the right of every child to a safe and nurturing environment. Actions against children that contribute to child abuse or neglect are contrary to the best values of a democratic society and of EOM. We oppose such actions in all settings where children are concerned. EOM volunteers and salary staff will receive training on how to recognize and promptly respond to any instances of child abuse that may appear during EOM programs. That does not mean that's happening while they're at our programs, but if we have an after-school program going on and we have a child that isn't comfortable if you walk up and give them a pat on the back, or isn't comfortable being real close to any other kids or adults, that's a real good indicator that there's something going on inside the home or somewhere else that's not, and they need to have a safe environment. So what I did was I basically took the 4-H youth protection booklet and just revised it to work for our EOM group. And I'm really not going to go through every page on here. We're just going to kind of touch base. But what I'd like is that if y'all will all look over it at some point, if you see anything that you think we need to change or we need to add to it, you know, get back with us, because inevitably what we want is to have a booklet like this in every church. That's right. So anytime you have new volunteers, you're going to have Vacation Bible School, and you're going to have a bunch of people. The very first training you're going to do is this youth protection training with them. That way they know what we expect out of them and what we're looking for, so they're not going to step over the boundaries. Another thing I would suggest for all groups is, it's called 2D. I don't know if any of y'all understand what that means. That means you always have, not necessarily two adults, but an adult and a teenager or whatever, but you're never in a vehicle alone with somebody that's not your own kid. You're never in a classroom alone with one of them. You always have somebody else in there with you at all times. So this first one talks about who, what, why, and how child abuse and neglect. Basically, it lays out what constitutes child abuse, neglect, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. Doing this research, I learned something that I didn't know, that there's such thing as educational neglect. Parents withholding their kids from school that don't homeschool, and they're not getting their education. That's neglect. They can go to jail for it. And because being in the position we're in, where we are taking on wanting to have children's programs and youth programs, and that's what we're striving to have, it lays upon us, and each state's law is a little bit different, but here in Colorado, you're just trying to get somebody in trouble, that's a federal law. They're not going to come after you to call and say, I suspect, unless they prove that you're calling and saying, look, so-and-so's doing this, 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 and this, just trying to get them in trouble. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about them knowing who called. And that's another area that you need to really, it's in here in the book, talks about, you have something going on in your church. You have a parent that is rougher than should be with their kids or whatever, and the deacon has, or I'm sorry, the bishop has gone and saw the need to speak to them about it or whatever, and you're somebody that's in the know, you're in the office or whatever, and the sister so-and-so comes up and says, hey, you know what's going on there? You have to say, I can't talk about that, or I choose to not spread gossip, or whatever. You have to keep the confidence. It's really important. It's important to be able to have the ability to go to the bishop to be the bishop to be able to go to him, or the youth director to be